to discuss. Republican Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio. He's the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. So thanks so much for being here, Congressman. Axios and a lot of other outlets have this report today about the Joint Chiefs Chairman Dan Raising Cane warning the president and other officials that a military campaign could carry major risks of a drawn-out conflict. What do you think is most likely here? I think Raising Cane is, if that raising good issues, if he is in fact giving the president that advice. And what do you make of the president posting that he's denying these reports?
Well, Jay, I think what's important here is that the president has, I think rightly so, taking action to hit Iran's nuclear weapons program. Many presidents had on the table that option, and many presidents had made the statement that Iran will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapons program, now understanding the risk to our country, to our European allies, and to Israel. And then as we've done the assessment as to what is Iran doing now, what has been taken out, what is the effects, what are they attempting to pursue, and have now, with the president's decision to enter into negotiations with Iran, Iran has a choice to enter into those negotiations, have a declaration as they have before. Where is their program? What are they doing? There is a calculus for Iran to take. And I think certainly the president understands that in making statements like this, he is making it clear to Iran that there's a risk if they don't proceed with negotiations. Now, we're all hoping, and certainly I do, that Iran comes to the table in a valuable way and abandons any attempt to continue their nuclear weapons program. And in doing so, that we have a resolution of this, and that certainly there would not be then a conflict.
When protests broke out last month in Iran against the regime, polling showed very limited support in the U.S. for the U.S. military to take action. 33% were in favor in the CBS News poll. Support was at 27% among independents, only 60% among Republicans polled, which is a relatively low number considering how much Republicans usually rally behind President Trump. What do you expect the president's going to say tomorrow night as Americans wait to see if he's going to actually use force again?
Well, of course, that issue is a completely different issue than the nuclear weapons program, than when the president took action before.
Whether or not to get involved because of the democracy protests.
Right. So the issue of whether or not the regime is crumbling or whether or not the regime is taking action in killing its own people, and whether or not there would be any military action to try to defend or take an action to protect those people is completely separate. And I don't anticipate that the president is going to, in the speech tomorrow, make any statements with respect to those protests, other than that Iran should stop killing its own people, which is absolutely horrific and is true. The issue of their nuclear weapons program, though, has been consistent throughout Republican, Democrat administrations, and what the president has done. Certainly, both should set back this program, and Iran should think very, very carefully about not committing themselves to these negotiations.
So let's turn to another hot topic. The president's been posting nonstop about the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to strike down his massive, sweeping tariff policy. He wrote this morning, quote, "As president, I do not have to go back to Congress to get approval of tariffs. It has already been gotten in many forms a long time ago. They were also just reaffirmed by the ridiculous and poorly crafted Supreme Court decision." You said on Friday that you don't, quote, support Congress further granting any president express, broad, and unrestrained tariff authority. What do you make of this assertion from him that he doesn't need Congress when, quite frankly, the U.S. Supreme Court just made it pretty clear, yes, he does?
Well, the Supreme Court decision was a statutory interpretation of the Emergency Act in which the president had previously
from the 1970s,
taken a executive action. And they found, in that statutory interpretation, that the president did not have tariff authority under that statute that he had invoked. There had been calls to expand tariff authority for the president, and I do not agree that we should expand.
I don't think there are other votes for that.
No, absolutely not. And I think Gorsuch, in his opinion, he really gave a very nice warning that once given to the president, it's very difficult for the when Congress delegates its own constitutional authority to a president to ever get it back. And so I am opposed to us expanding delegations of those authorities. Now, the action the president has taken is currently under a specific statute that also is one from the 70s.
But it's a temporary tariff.
It's a temporary one, right? And I'm certainly not for expanding that either.
All right, Republican Congressman Mike Turner from Ohio. Always good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for being here.